Guys, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Real Estate. I'm co-host Tone, and who do we have here?
Lucas Burrington co-hosting, and we have a special guest tonight. I'll let you do.
Oh,
Yeah, literally the most special. I'm sorry, everybody else, but come on.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, now you're just buttering me up.
No, we already did that. We
That's
gave you
what
some
the whiskey is.
And it's delicious.
Yes. So who else do we got on tonight? I'll let you do your introduction and kind of let us.
Well,
no one needs.
you're sweet, Lucas.
Yes.
Tiffany O'Donnell, and I get the privilege of being the mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, been almost 4 years. It's hard to believe, but been doing it, like I said, since, 2022. Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy because a lot of what we talk about on these episodes have kind of like been the change in format of real estate within the community itself, and then, kind of how communication has changed from 2020 to 2025 and what's happened in between there. So we'll get into a little bit of that today. But I definitely want to give an introduction to our whiskey as well. Yeah, so we have the Doughball, I should say.
I think this is the real special guest.
It is, and it
To
is
be clear.
I read it. I
fantastic.
was like, what is Duff Ball?
Yeah.
But then I saw it says cookie up top. So
Yeah, it is definitely a dough ball, and it tastes exactly like it sounds. It is cookie dough, and I do believe it's from the makers of Screwball. So if you've had the peanut butter whiskey, this is definitely the cookie dough whiskey. It tastes exactly like it sounds, and it is fantastic.
It's delicious. You know what I would do, though? If I had my way, I put a little soda in it. Give a little bit of soda, cut a little bit of the sweet, give a little bit of crisp.
What kind of soda do you think you'd put in it?
Oh, just straight up, just like soda water, just a little bit of carbonation, just to kind of cut the sweet a little bit, and it would be delicious.
So she must have been a bartender back in her day. So
I may or may not have some experience, but no, because it is good. It does actually taste like cookie dough. As soon as you said that, doesn't surprise me. It's just it would be really extra. I don't like terribly sweet, so cutting it with a little bit of fizz would be delish.
there
I haven't
you go.
tried it yet.
A little
you can tell-
carbonation, a little carbonation.
You can
in
tell I don't discriminate, though.
Yeah,
There's
it
no
is.
soda in it right now, and it's still delicious.
Yeah.
This is good.
I told you, man.
It is up there with Screwball for sure.
It's
Yeah.
smooth. It's smooth. It's
and
trouble.
you haven't had Screwball yet.
I haven't.
Oh yeah, we'll bring you back just for the peanut butter whiskey. It is the best, but this is
Is that
right
light
up
supposed to be on right here on this one?
there. Yeah, they're all
This-
going.
Oh, okay. Very good.
You know what would be awesome when you say Screwball, too? And this, too. I imagine a little toothpick, a fancy toothpick with like a little ball of cookie dough on it. Instead of an olive, people... Let's do a little toothpick with a Reese's peanut butter cup. Just a
She
little
has-
mini peanut butter cup on it, and this you put a little dough ball. Little.
Yeah,
She hasn't admitted it, but she was a bartender.
I've just discovered a new whiskey too.
Yeah, and she wasn't a dive bar bartender. She's making it pretty. I like it. You got like a little martini she's making over here.
mixologist.
It matters.
Oh my God, that's good though.
So on this podcast, one of the biggest themes is the ripples in the lake. How people in office affect the real estate world and so forth. One thing we do every episode is talk about today's market, and we'd like to get your perspective on today's market in the real estate world. And Lucas is an expert, so he'll kind of chime in and get you the numbers. But where do you think the real estate market is?
We just don't have enough. We cannot get enough. Certainly, we can't get enough single family housing. People just aren't leaving for a variety of reasons I read about. Lucas can give us all the X's and O's, but we know people are staying in their houses longer. They're not selling, whether it's interest rates or other reasons. And we also know for developers, it just doesn't quite pencil out. Multifamily housing seems to pencil out better right now. So as a city, we know we got to help developers. And, one of the more recent things we did, similar post-flood, we've done it post-derecho, and that's something called the Roots 2.0, where the city actually uses HUD dollars that we got to help subsidize developers to build. So it gives them basically $150,000 off the top. And then if you qualify, you get that house, stay in it long enough, and you get equity and ownership. So we've got 78 houses, and a handful of them already committed. But that's just one of the ways that we as a city are trying to support developers and builders, because it just right now it just doesn't make sense for them.
Well, you are right 100% of what you're saying right now of kind of what the market is doing. We've been on a shortage since COVID of real estate properties and especially single family houses. The inventory slowly climbing. I mean, we're at 12, I think 1225 today. That was on the market, and that's the corridor area. Cedar Rapids itself was at like 389 for houses that are on the open market, but we're still got 488, I think it was, commercial properties that are for sale.
Wow.
So when you have more commercial for sale than you do actual real estate for sale, it's kind of on the residential side. It's kind of it gives you a little forecast of what everyone's doing right now. And you are right. Everyone's sitting on their hands right now. I had probably one of the busiest last 5 days that I can name in the last 10 years of just showing people houses.
Really? Why do you think?
Obviously they announced that the Fed and the president are going to meet on September 17th or September 15th, where they're
Maybe cut
some
rates.
cut some rates. And banks have already started lowering rates. Because the investors were seeing that the forecast, all the numbers came out of August. They saw the forecast, so there was a rate cut today. It wasn't big, but it was enough to kind of stir the pot, and everyone's kind of forecasting that. And quite frankly, I don't know if they're more forecasting it or they're just wishful thinking right now. Because even if the Feds do cut the rates, it ain't going to be something that's going to be dramatic, but it's going to be enough to push people off the fence.
But
But
maybe a sign of things to come.
Exactly. I think our prediction that we've made on this podcast, and this is my 14th, 15th year of doing real estate, and been one of the top producers in the state in the state of Iowa for 13 of those years, and almost Jeremy and I were top 10 in the United States for 5 people or under groups. So we've seen from 2013, 2012. Coming off of the Dodd-Frank Act all the way into where we are right now, the ups, downs, and the leveling out. Right now, I think we're leveling because there's still a lot of activity. But, man, we have so many buyers right now, and they're just not pulling triggers. So I met with an insurance guy today who I would consider a close friend, and he was talking about it, and he's been in the real estate business forever. I mean, he's probably approaching his 60s, and he said, Lucas, we got a shortage of buyers out there right now. I go, we don't. We do not have a shortage of buyers right now. We have a shortage of offers right now. We need people to start making offers. We have tons of buyers out there looking. Traffic's good.
What about inventory?
Inventory is still low.
Yeah.
And if you got a house that's 200 to 255 or 275, and that's the average sale price in Cedar Rapids is like 222. They're just sitting. There's no activity hardly on those at all. Now, if you're 150 and lower, they're still flying off the shelf. If they're 375 or higher, they're still moving. Because those people really aren't interested.
They don't care about the rate.
They don't care about the rate at that price. But you got to remember your 200,000 to 250 buyers today were last year, or if you put it equivalent, those that are approved for $150,000 right now, they were approved for right at 200 2 years ago. Well, 3 years ago now.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why you have an abundance of that price range right now.
So I got a question for you, because we're hearing about this in other parts of the country where you've got, companies like Blackstone coming in, BlackRock buying up houses, turning them into Airbnbs, taking all the inventory. Do we have that problem here?
We manage 400 plus properties, depending on the time of year, so 400 to 600 in. We do have a share of Airbnbs that we do have. We have investors from 17 different states. So we get to hear kind of everything that's going on market wide across the United States.
How do they find us?
So Cedar Rapids is kind of like their hidden secret. So I literally was talking to 2 investors on Friday from California. And I already managed 2 properties for one of them. So he's bringing more guys from California with him to say, hey, this is a hot spot to kind of go. And he made it very clear to me that, hey, when you get on your podcast, don't talk about the Cedar Rapids market much. He goes, because I
Too
do.
late.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, he goes, because this is my little hidden secret right now. But if someone was actually doing the research, and you can I want you to piggyback on this is, we always talk about the 30-second elevator speech that we give about Cedar Rapids, and we do it almost every episode. You got 3 colleges. So you got, and one of them is one of the largest institutions in the United States, which is only a 2-year college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's third behind Iowa State, and then it goes. I think enrollment wise, Kirkwood is
Absolutely. And by the way, businesses who are looking at the Cedar Rapids Metro, Greater Cedar Rapids, all need to know about Kirkwood. I mean, that's when we're doing our pitch to build a company here, to buy a company here, Kirkwood is always a part of the conversation.
Well, and then we're manufacture capital of the United States. I think it's
largest corn processing city in the world.
So yeah, I mean these are fact finding stuff type things that people always talk about, and we have 2 very important hospitals that are top 100. So
and free public education too. I
Yep.
mean, which we got to constantly keep an eye on. We used to hang our hats on education, and we got to make sure we keep our eye on the ball there. But yeah, affordability, safety. I mean, it comes down to the basics. At the end of the day, we just did a survey to see what people knew, if they even knew about Cedar Rapids, as part of a population growth initiative. And the good news is we found out people didn't know us. So there's a huge opportunity out there to introduce ourselves and tell us who we are. But what we learned is it's not that deep, as the kids say. It's not that deep.
Yep.
I can afford a house
Yep.
when I'm 30. My kids are going to be safe. I got good free schools. I got, it's a safe city.
So many job opportunities.
And jobs,
and that's just growing.
And that is only going to grow. And I know, you guys, I hear so much every day for people who are happy about the growth, and plenty of people who are, I think at the end of the day, it comes from just being nervous about the growth, because it is historic, literally trajectory changing for Cedar Rapids. When you look at Cedar Rapids, historically, 100 years from now, you're going to look at these last 4 or 5 years and say, what happened there?
Right.
What happened there? And it's happening, by the way, all across the country. It's just we're really leveraging the moment. But we're going to have thousands of jobs here for, 5 to 10 years. Thousands of temporary jobs, electricians, welders, plumbers, pipe fitters, building 2 data centers, a nuclear facility, a casino. I mean, those are temporary jobs. And then you've got the hundreds of jobs that each of these data centers brings in. We're having an influx of people like we've never seen before, which is not only the obvious and immediate growth, it's also the growth from the companies that come because the data centers are here.
Correct.
And the families that come with those people. And that goes back to my housing question, because one of the things that all the cities, not just Cedar Rapids, I mean, I got an eye on the region. We are a region. Yes, I'm a Cedar Rapids. I'm a homer. I am unapologetically, we are the greatest city on earth. And we are part of a much larger metro area. How do we make sure we've got the space for the people who are coming in, whether they're temporary and need parks to put their RVs, how are we managing all of that? Those are conversations that are happening right now, not just in Cedar Rapids, but all around us.
And it's a real life conversation. I mean, and as you know, the number 1 growth per capita in the United States last year was Marion, Iowa. So, and that is a hidden fact that's out there, that number 1 growth in the United States per capita was Marion, Iowa. You got Tiffin, that was top 5. You got Grimes, Adele, and the Waukee area that are all in the top 25.
Ankeny.
Oh my God, it's a different world out there now.
I just keep saying, we're the 2nd largest city in the state, but
Yep.
for how long? For how long? I'm looking at Ankeny knocking on the door. I'm looking at Waukee knocking on the door. All those in central Iowa. So we can't let that happen, by the way.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, to your point, we got places in the state that are.
It's just crazy. And it's funny. I was watching a thing, and I'm a huge Jelly Roll guy. I love Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll's,
Same.
he's amazing. And
Son of a sinner, just saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too.
Lost cause.
But
I'm a lost cause.
Yes. And so he was talking about when he was a child in Nashville. And when he was a child in Nashville, and he just started hitting some of the local bars and whatever not, singing. And Nashville at that time was like 250 to 300,000 people. And here we are, and he's talking about, 10 years later, the Nashville made an investment, and they made an investment in the Tennessee Titans. And when they brought the Tennessee Titans back from the Houston, because it was the Houston Oilers at that time, they brought them back. It over the years, now it's a 1.5 million capacity of people,
What's the population of Cedar Rapids?
140.
So 140,000. So if you look at Nashville when Jelly Roll was 10 to 15 years old, and here they were 250, we're 100,000 sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Yeah.
What it sounds like a lot to is our builders. What it sounds to where do we find the housing and everything. we're getting the attractions to bring it in, and we have such local pride here, which is fantastic. And we've had evidence of local pride through so many common natural disasters, and then we had the COVID experience, and then the support that you have in the community trying to get some of these small businesses going, and so on and so forth. And that it just takes one big thing to happen, and we have a lot of big things happening right now. Like she was saying, we got the nuclear plants getting rebuilt. You get the casino. The
data centers.
Yeah, the data centers coming in.
Let me just tell you, the data centers, the building permits alone, just the building permits, 20 million.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Building permits. I mean, they're like small cities out there.
Yep.
And I think, that's the challenge for us. And I just, I keep telling people our eyes are wide open, and we have teams of people that are looking at, none of this happens in a vacuum.
Right.
Where are the people going to live? Do we have the infrastructure for all of this? How do we make sure that, restaurants can handle it? PD can handle it.
Yep.
None of this happens in a vacuum. It's a huge opportunity, and we got to understand how huge it is.
Well, and so these investors that came in, so I had a guy from Chicago come in probably about 2 months ago, and the first thing I did is I'm like, all right, Jason, hop in my car. We're going for a cruise. So we went on about an hour cruise, and going for a cruise is like my time. So I'm like inviting someone into my time now. But I drove him around to all four corners, Marion, Hiawatha, southwest side, northwest side, Stony Point area, so on and so forth, and drove him all the way around the side. We went out by Kirkwood. We went down by the airport, and we came up on the backside of Marion. And he's like, holy cow. He goes, I would have never guessed, because like in the Chicago area and other states, and I did the same thing with these guys from California that came in, these investors from California that came in this weekend, and they just can't get over. And it was like I had a detour to take like almost a downtown and then back out down Mount Vernon Road type situation, because the new construction's everywhere, and it blows these guys' ways because they're coming from areas that new construction has just halted.
Yeah.
It's starting to come back now, but it's like pretty much came to a halt. We have that same problem over the last 3 years with new construction on the single family houses. So those $400,000 to $700,000 houses in the new construction area were at a halt. You used to be able to drive around and you would have spec houses everywhere. You'd have a spec house here, spec house here. Here's a floor plan. Here's 3 different floor plans. Go ahead and watch what floor plan you want. We can do a pre-sale on this. And so therefore, you already have your house built before you go to the bank, even though it's not going to be built for 7 months and the bank's doing the financing on your pre-build. We don't have those spec houses anymore. So now you see one go up here, and you're seeing one go up here again, and
it is crazy.
It's nuts.
I mean, I get it. I know why it's happening, but it just can't stay this way.
Well, from a commercial standpoint, from an investor standpoint, they got to always worry about their holding cost. And when your holding cost is automatically starting at 7% and 8% interest rates out there, I mean that cost is no longer like it was where you could get 4% and 5% holding cost rates on their holding costs. So, I mean, you're doubling what your holding cost was where it was 2 years ago or a year ago actually, when it continued to spike up. So, what we got going on in the economy and what we got going on today, I mean, Cedar Rapids, back to our 30-second elevator speech that we tried to get in
20 seconds. So
yeah. Back to our we have been pretty recession proof, is what I like to call it, because we do have a mixture of the white collar, we do have a great mixture of the blue collar, but then we also have the youth that's coming up because of the 3 colleges that we have in town. So there's a lot of reasons for real estate to boom here. The challenge I got for the city and whatnot is how do we support that first time home buyer how do we also support and try to perk that $200,000 to $250,000 buyer, because that's your average sale price right now. That's a majority of Cedar Rapids right there that is buying in that $200,000 to $250,000 mark.
Right. And I will, I don't have an easy answer for you. I can just tell you what I know exists out there, and certainly the Roots program that I mentioned earlier, just a way to
been fantastic. That Roots program's been awesome.
That Roots program has been great. I think the other thing for young, I say young people because that's typically who it is, but first time home buyers, the Iowa Finance Authority has some tremendous opportunities for first time home buyers, which isn't everybody. But I hear you. I mean, I think one of the things that's been so enlightening for me is, what affordable housing actually is. And there's this color around it, like it's Section 8, well, actually it's not.
No.
It's college graduates that might be making $60,000 a year, but they have college debt. So they're making too much money to qualify for any of these perks that may be out there, but not enough
Yep.
to actually be able to support themselves. So we call it kind of the missing middle. And that's not just Cedar Rapids, it's everywhere.
Yep. And so with that being said, the areas that I think of opportunity that will help, like you said, with all these new jobs coming in, is finding a way where we can put an incentive program. You guys did a phenomenal job with the southeast side and the rebuilding of the southeast side, where you guys put the neighborhood financing, that's out there, where, if you do this XYZ remodel in the historic district, you get XYZ dollar backs, or, kind of like almost like a forgivable loan that's out there. And it's that really perked up the southeast side and did exactly what it needs to do. But I almost think it needs to, something for the investors to buy city across, because then they'll start popping up stuff. They'll start. I mean, investors are looking; they're hungry as hell. And
but see, to your point, I know they're hungry as hell. So do we need to give them money? That's what taxpayers would they say. They say, okay, so we know they want to come here. We know we're affordable. We know our labor's more affordable here. We know people stick around here. So how much more do we need to give our friends from California?
Well, and I do agree on what you're saying on there, but and let me rephrase that. I phrased that bad. So I think the area that we're missing is taking care of the ones that want to invest into building, like, or not even building, just buying 1 or 2 or 3 houses. Because a lot of our local investors, we have our mainstay of 10 big investors that are doing a lot of big things around the community and so on and so forth. But you look at Monika and myself, and Monika just walked in, she's in the back.
Hey.
And
the kids picked up.
Yep. And so when you look at them, the ones that are buying onesies and twosies and threesies, we either we got to leverage this or leverage that, but there is no help for someone like that. But I understand what you're saying too, because as soon as you offer it to one, you got to offer it to all that are buying in that investment era. So,
and that's just it. Again, I spend not my money, I spend the public's money. So anytime we do incentives like that, or subsidies, it's not free money. It's somebody's money. So that being said, the city does it all the time. The city weighs opportunities and risks all the time as it relates to us encouraging people to come here. The one thing I'm just going to ask you though too, and this is where I put my, I'm a super pro business. Somebody called me a chamber Republican. I'm a super pro business person, and make no bones about that. Yet in Cedar Rapids, what frustrates me is when we have out of state owners of multifamily units and they don't live up to the responsibilities. And I don't have somebody I can call.
Yeah.
I got to have when you live in the community, when you know people that live in the units, that's when we make improvements. That's when we have dignified places for people to live. So it's always a concern to me. And I think about some of our West Side properties, over by where the new library is going to be. We got people from Canada owning these apartments, and they got no interest in Cedar Rapids. And that makes it hard for me as a mayor, because first of all, I have no one I can call.
Right.
We're so far removed from them. We literally are just, an investment to them. And I would just be curious, your thoughts on that. That's my mayor hat.
Well, and it's a tough line to walk, because in my field with the property management and real estate, I can't keep both sides happy. I'm either pissing off the investor or I'm making the tenant upset, no matter what decision we do. But there was this gentleman I was speaking to today, and he's like, "How do you fluctuate so much from 400 to 600 properties?" I go, "Because we do have some of those investors out there that don't live up to the standards that we need them to live up to." Because Monika meets with our city inspectors 3 times a day, pretty much. Wow. So she, with us having so many properties, there's a city inspection almost every day. And so we have to walk in there, and sometimes the investor would say, "I'm doing my own repairs. I don't want you guys touching anything because we don't want to pay the cost or anything like that." So she'll walk into a property with a guy that owns it from California, and the inspector's like, "Oh my God, you guys haven't touched anything on this list." And I go, "Our job is to post on this door to make sure that you guys can get in and we can walk you through it." And they told us that things were done. we can come through and walk, but if we call you and say, hey, guess what, let's reschedule, we can only do that so many times. And trust me, we reschedule a lot of inspections just because she pre-walks it and tries to find out and is like, what are we doing? Why, Mr. Investor, haven't you fixed this? And you're right. It is tough to walk that fine line because we have a direct contact. We can call them, but we have to take their word on what they're doing. And it's not our money.
Right.
So we're spending their money. So.
I feel better. I feel better knowing that at least you're here.
Yeah.
And Monique is here for those inspections. But I there just has to be some sort of local connection because I mean some of these places I don't even know what you own. I don't know where you own. I'm just speaking in general terms. So just some of the stuff I've seen over time. It's just really hard to deal with people that aren't here. And, you know, that's one of the things when you talk about a secret sauce to Cedar Rapids. I was just with a national developer who lives here and works here and is headquartered here. And yet they have investments all across the country. And yet they want to do a legacy project in Cedar Rapids. And there's nothing like, again, for me as a mayor, selfishly, there's nothing like having a homegrown person say, I just want to commit. I want to commit to my city. I want to invest in my city. And I know I'm not here as a charity. I need to make money. I might give it a little more time to make money than I would somewhere else. But knowing it's really what our secret sauce has been. We're 140,000 people, which either makes us a big, small city or a small, big city, either way. But the relationships are real here. The accountability is at the high V. I mean, you're going to see your neighbors at the high V. So you build something nasty, you're going to hear about it. I don't know. It's a part of what's kept us moving. That and the diversity of our industry, to your point. We're a little bit recession proof. I don't want to like knock on everything. But because of the diversity of all the industry we have here, we're not locked into just one thing. I think that's helped us too over time.
Agreed.
There's legal requirements for if I buy a multi-unit property to hire a property management company like you, right?
No.
So I could buy
You could buy it and let it sit.
I think it should be. Tone
agree.
for governor.
I completely agree there should be a law because I know people from Cedar Rapids that buy in other states and just buy a property and just let it sit.
I would agree. They're just mere investments.
Yeah, and I mean, when you see, I mean, I visited with an investor that were actually moving a guy out of one of his properties, and I went and met with this guy, and he's like, yeah, that's fine, go ahead, look what I'm looking at. And he's looking at properties in Indiana, and he's looking at properties in Chicago. He goes, I could buy this for $1,500 on this land right here that's valued at this and that. And he goes, I go, what are you going to do with it? I go, you can't even pay your rent. Like, what are you going to do with this? And he's like, I'm just going to let it sit. I'm just going to let it sit and gain value. I'm like, that's crazy.
Land bank. I'm telling you, these are things that you learn over time. There are people, they call it land banking. You've heard of this.
Yep.
In some of our areas that need the most support, we've got people sitting on property.
Yep.
And I'm not going to fault anybody. Again, we're not all charities. You know, we're not all charities. It's just, you know, I got my mayor hat on and I'm looking to improve certain parts of our community, and it just makes it a lot harder.
It does. And you know, we had an episode with my dad came on this, and we talked about the same thing happening in the farm community.
Oh, interesting.
So we talked about land and ag when my dad came on, because he lives in, we're a century farmers. And we have everyone around him is getting bought up by the corporate guys. So people
it's not good.
It's not good. And they've turned down many offers from.
But how long can they do that? It's like you can't really fault a person.
Yeah, and I told and it's not like they have prime land that's sitting in the middle of like Interstate 380 or around new development or anything. This is land that's just middle of nowhere. That is, I mean, it's good farming ground. I mean, it is good farming ground.
I guarantee you it's worth something.
Yeah. And the opportunities they have just because of their landlocked, you know, there's 3 or 4 NFL guys that own everything else around them, you know, so it's crazy how it's going. And you know, that's one thing that I love about our community is our community usually has each other's backs on this, and we know what's going on. I deal with it up in Center Point, and I've dealt with it for a long time. There's this land right across the street from car dealership where AMMT is located up there in that strip mall up there, you know, where we've shot a couple podcasts for. There's a blank land that's right behind the bank and everything around it. We wanted to get a couple developers in Center Point that are looking to develop in Center Point, because every time you put a development up in Center Point, it fills up, it's sold, it's gone. Until the last 2 years where no one's building right now. So we've tried so many times to buy that land, and we've made offers so many times, and it's from 3 guys from Russia.
Oh,
See, and
man.
I don't mean to be
I know.
protectionist, but that just sort of annoys me.
I do
my
like
core.
I do like what Christy Nome did out in North Dakota. I mean, or was that South Dakota? It was South Dakota.
What'd she do?
Where she passed a law that we're buying back the land if you're not from the area. And well, but they also have nuclear plants out there, and they have where
Yeah.
they're holding the nukes. And
So do we.
yeah, agree. And they were buying up all the land around the nuclear areas.
Okay, no bueno.
And
Yeah.
she put a kibosh to that. And so that was pretty cool with Christy Nome. I think it was last year or the year before she did that. I was like, oh, we're flexing right now. We literally just said this land that was bought to a Chinese corporation, we took it right back. So it was, that's a major flex that was out there. But anyways, Tone, I'm telling you right now, the Cedar Rapids area, thanks to our mayor and a lot of the support that we have going around, you and I benefit from what they have going on because,
Absolutely.
I mean, especially your music industry. And we've been invited to do podcasts at a lot of our local bars, just try to, spur the bars up, bring traffic in,
Yeah.
show them
Support
what they're
small business.
is support small businesses, and us being business owners and small business owners, it's scary out there. And so anything the city can do to help us. And what do you know off the top of your head, and I don't want to put you on the spot, that you have for small business owners out there that would spur small business owners to keep moving forward?
That's a great question. I don't have an easy answer for you. I don't. I mean, in terms of, one of the things as mayor, my primary responsibility is to make sure we have a great city, a safe city, with opportunity and things to do. Safe city. I think one of the interesting pieces of our origin story is that we are an entrepreneurial city. I mean, it's like in our DNA. When you look at other parts of the state, you look at Des Moines, very much insurance. Sioux City is Sioux City. I don't need to say any more there. But I mean, Cedar Rapids is a very independent. The identity of Greater Cedar Rapids is very independent. And when you look at the family-owned, multi-generational businesses that are still here, and when I talk about my priorities, economic development wise, it's making sure those companies stay here and grow here. We have it in our DNA, and that's to help others grow. So whether it's Nuboco, whether it's the EDC, the Entrepreneurial Development Corp, it really is, we're in a unique spot culture-wise that entrepreneurs, though they have mentors here. I wish we had more capital here. It's honestly what holds us back. We'll get people that will start up here and then they'll go to the East Coast because there's just more capital there.
Yep.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think people would be surprised and shocked if they knew how much money was in not just Cedar Rapids, but in the state of Iowa. We're just not as great at investing
And I do agree
in those businesses, but the money's here.
I agree 100%, and making everyone knowledgeable of what we have out there. I mean, I was with a couple business partners today on, growth and whatnot, and they had a lot of great ideas. I go, but our marketing needs to be on point if this is how we're going to go.
Know.
And I mean,
I agree.
And so let's talk about today's world right now, where we're at right now. And I want to remember where I'm going with this on it is, it's funny we mentioned Sioux City. So, and this is called keeping a thumb. Yeah, it's like we got a windmill in here.
That was not me. I was nowhere near aisle 3. Nowhere near.
They're still going to follow you. So, keeping a thumb on it and thumping on a thumb on today's market and what's out there is so important, because we talked about Sioux City, and Sioux City at one time in the late 1990s. So like 90 to 99, Sioux City was like one of the top 5 destination places, like to live in in Iowa.
Sioux City was?
Sioux City was.
Okay.
And that's Bill
Maybe
Gates.
it's because of the casino.
Well,
Gateway Computers.
Yeah, Bill Gates
Got
was,
it.
had Gateway's computers coming out of Sioux City, Iowa. There was a huge manufacturing flux that was going on out there. A lot of new commercial was coming into the area. Sioux City had the Dakota Dunes that was out there.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they were a booming area when the Dakota Dunes came out. That's where Tiger Woods made his amateur debuts and won his championships and so on and so forth.
And no personal income tax.
Exactly.
So we're going to work in Iowa, but we're going to live just across the border in Dakota Dunes.
Yep. So it made Sioux City a desirable spot. And then they started continue bringing in the manufacturing and a lot of the meat plants and so on and so forth. A lot of the things, a lot of stuff that Cedar Rapids has here too. But they didn't keep their thumb on that pulse. And now it, I'm not banging on Sioux City. It's came a long way, especially the last 10 years. It's came a long ways to kind of rebirth itself.
No, I agree.
But it went into like a Fort Dodge area where it was like almost an armpit at a time. And
well, I'm a pro casino person, but I look at the casinos there in Sioux City that have really reinvested in that downtown and their community too.
Yep.
And by the way, Ho-Chunk Nation, people don't realize that either. Now this is becoming out Sioux City, but one thing that's impressed me so much about Ho-Chunk Nation, a tribe that's in Sioux City in that region, Ho-Chunk, it's called Ho-Chunk Inc. And not only do they obviously they have casinos like like so many, but it also it's like a conglomerate. I mean, it's a multinational. They build roads in other countries. It's multinational corporations, very diversified. Ho-Chunk is a huge player in Sioux City too.
Yep.
And they reinvest in the community.
So that leads me to my next point is this is your podcast today. Today is
look out.
Yep. Today is where you get to kind of, like as if we go to the bar, we always bring the bar owners on and we allow them to kind of promote what's going on. And I'll kind of give you a segue. Okay. We just had, the after, what is it? Farmers Market After Dark. That went on. You had probably 10 to 20,000 people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 10 to 20,000 people that were downtown. I mean, you were elbow to elbow. It was waiting lines and that. I mean, it was packed.
It's crazy. Good vibe. I call that the vibe. You got Blacktoberfest coming up.
Yep, Saturday.
Yep. Mike Schulte's playing.
The Pork Tornadoes.
Yep. Yep. He just texted me today, asked if we got our tickets. We gotta go down to Cliffs. If you haven't got your tickets for Mike Schulte, we need to go down to Cliffs, and Cliffs is selling the tickets for it. So, but how do you capture that 10 to 20,000 people and let them know about Cedar Rapids? Because Cedar Rapids, city of Cedar Rapids had tents at every corner.
That's great.
So I'll let you segue into marketing what Cedar Rapids is about. Why are you proud to be the mayor of Cedar Rapids? How did you choose to be the mayor of Cedar Rapids too?
Okay, well, I was lucky enough, honestly, to be perfectly transparent. But I did work hard for that, and the reason why I ran was because my kids moved away, like so many of our kids. Like I did, frankly, but I wanted to make sure we had a place that our kids wanted to come back to. And what's interesting in the 4 years, my focus initially was really on the vibe. Like, how do we make sure Cedar Rapids is a cool place where there's stuff to do, where young people want to stick around and maybe want to come back to. And so that was really a focus of mine early on. What I've learned, though, is my kids have gotten older and Cedar Rapids has gotten older. People aren't going to come back here if there aren't opportunities for them at the end of the day. I mean, our kids are out there wherever they may be. They're getting promoted. They're, experiencing new things. That doesn't end just because they're from Cedar Rapids. So how do we make sure that we're an interesting place that has opportunity for these people too? It's about more than trails and brew pubs. I mean, that matters. We got to have all of it. And I think what makes me most proud is we have a city right now that's marching in the same direction. And that was definitely not the case when I ran. I felt like there were good things happening. It's just there wasn't a plan. There wasn't a vision. The plan right now, you've seen the downtown vision plan. I mean, it's a 3rd Street Arts and Culture District. It's a 2nd Avenue Bridge, which I'm just going to put this out there in the universe because it's been closed for so long. I would actually advocate to close it permanently and make it a pedestrian bridge. Right now, we're going to stop short of that, saying we're going to make it convertible into a festival street. So we can easily close it down for events. But what a great bridge between the two sides. Mays Island becoming a real center of activity. And maybe most importantly for me is the river. And I've been talking about this since day one, was activating the river rather than, blocking ourselves off from it. And people support this. People who lost their homes support this. How do we lean in to this amazing natural resource? And so one of the real concrete ways we're doing that, I had super opportunity to be a part of a nationwide. It was actually a global cohort with the Harvard Kennedy School of Business and Bloomberg, Mike Bloomberg, who one of the greatest mayors ever, who understands investing in cities. I was chosen for this cohort annual all year long. I got to bring along some city teams, choose one focus, and how do we make it great? And it was literally my focus was activating the river. And the city team was activating the river. The city council has already bought into this. Before I got there, they were committed to the Greenway. They were committed to making sure that we had things to do, we had bike trails, we had opportunities alongside the river. My task is making sure that the river itself. I mean, we're Cedar Rapids without rapids. Like, how does that happen? Right. So this cohort, we got audacious. We got audacious with plans, and we brought in hundreds of Cedar Rapidians to ask, what would, in a perfect world, what would you want? And there were things like water light shows a la Bellagio. There were things like zip lines over the river, certainly the Connect CR and Light Line Loop. The river will look markedly different in 10 years, markedly different, and not just alongside it. I mean, you think about where the Hawk Building in Smulikoff's is right now. That's actually a plaza. That will be a plaza that leads out to a trail. So if you're eating dinner at what was it called? It was an Italian grill there, right there. It was the Chop House at one point.
The Chop House was fantastic. I love the Chop House. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That restaurant, though, will be the opportunity to eat on the river. It's got 3-foot walls with the opportunity to have 6-foot removable walls. So should we need the flood wall? Anyway, my point is activating the river on it and off it. And it's a long time process, but it is in motion. And we've got a council and a city that's committed to it.
Yep. So, and I agree on that because I was Volunteer of the Year in 2011. I think 2012, I was nominated, and I was in small town community. So we had to activate our downtown main streets. So Iowa came out with a Main Street program, which was fantastic. And so we volunteered, spent a lot of time with the main streets of the small communities of how we can activate our facade and how to bring in everything into the community where we're trapping that captive audience on the main streets, because that's where our businesses were when you're in small town. And small community was the downtown district in the Main Street area. But then I remember the first criticism I got for working, and I was on the Sac County Main Street district, and they're like, well, what about the pools and the parks, and how do we bring some of the focus to the southeast side where you got open lots, and Tone, you got a park that's vacant doing nothing right across from you right now, and how do we activate the other things? I'll let you go. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to bridge away.
I don't mind to be being dramatic here, but the thing that I wrestle with all the time is a zero-sum game mindset. And what I mean by that is we are a city of ands. We are not a city of ors. Just because I'm improving Jones Park, by the way, adding, tubes and pipes so the thing doesn't flood anymore, doesn't mean that I'm ignoring Redmond Park in Wellington Heights. It doesn't mean that I'm ignoring Enterprise. Yep. This city is a big city with a master plan. Yep. And I encourage anybody to go look at our Envision CR plan. We have to be able to do a lot of things all at once. There's also different pots of money. When we save money for parks. We save money for infrastructure and streets, paving for progress, different pots of money. So when it's just too simplistic to say, don't do that because then you're not going to do that. I'm going to call BS. It's not. We're a big city, and if we didn't plan, we wouldn't get anything done. And by the way, if we pivoted every time there was a popular issue, we really wouldn't get anything done. We have got to have a long-term plan, and it's my job, first of all, to help, envision the plan. And the second piece of it, all I do every day in this form of government is push, prod, question, push, prod, because I am in a weak mayor form of government, just so you know. We got a city manager who runs $1 billion operation. I mean, the city's a big machine, to be clear. The city council is basically, I liken it to a board. I liken it to a policy-making board, and I am the chair. There are some unique privileges to being mayor in terms of economic development. I am the mayor of economic development per our charter, so I do have unique responsibilities there. I am one vote of 9. I cannot do anything on my own. And
Right.
any council member who puts themselves on an island is ineffective. Because this form of government does not reward that. And I think that's a good thing. I think I'm not talking about, a unanimous vote all the time. I'm talking about consensus government. And last time I checked, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And our government allows for that. But when you talk, I'm glad you brought up though. I mean, that we're doing this over here, so that means we're not doing this over there. That is not the case. And I get the temptation because I live it every day. Of course I would know this is going on. If you're not sitting in the mayor's office, I wouldn't expect you to understand this. But you can tell I take it a little personal because I absolutely am passionate about all the projects as it relates to quality of life and parks and making sure this is the thing when I hear about Tiffin and I hear about Marion and these great, smaller towns around us. You guys, I got 4 Marions.
Yep,
I got 4 Marions. I got a Kingston Village. I got a Czech Village Nubo district. I got a downtown. Heck, I got a northeast side, the Fountains. I mean, we've got this is a second largest city in the state, and we've got multiple communities, amazing communities with their own identities inside it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. By the way, I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Yep, and I agree. When I was taking those investors around this weekend, I brought them through Nubo. I brought them through Czech Village. I brought them. I brought them all the way through, to the Marion side of everything, and it was cool. You can see the change. You can see what's going on, and that's why I want to give you your time on this, is because I'm gonna throw you some softballs, but I'm also gonna throw you some fastballs.
I got a couple too.
Yeah, and
I think you should do it.
And because
and I might need more whiskey.
Yeah, it's right here.
The answers might be better or worse depending on where you're sitting. But
so a little about me and Lucas. Like, we wear multiple hats. Like, I do music, podcasts. I do the Iowa Music Awards and Summer Jam. So I wear many hats. And then Lucas, brokerage, property manager, agent. He'll go in there and do some maintenance work. Like, he has to do a lot of stuff and has a lot of titles.
Well, and Cody and I were just on the news yesterday because we were doing the AAU program, the Iowa Legacy and whatnot, and we're trying to build that for our youth foundation, and we're going to lead as soon as you're done. That's the next step. I'm kind of giving you a little foreshadowing of how we can get in and help more in contact more of the community.
And before I want to hear more about what you're going to say. I just have to also say what people hear me say all the time. Government is not the answer. Anything that we've ever been successful in doing has been driven by citizens. It's been driven by people with government support.
Agreed.
So anything that actually works, Connect CR, Lightline Loop, it's majority privately funded. You gotta have city support, and you should. But taxpayers are a part of the solution. You shouldn't expect taxpayers to foot the bill for all these things. And frankly, for them to be successful, these initiatives, the best things, the award shows, the Iowa Music Awards, all that stuff, driven by passionate people who make it happen. Government can't make it happen.
Well, we definitely haven't had any assistance on that. That has been you've been pushing the music side, and I've been pushing the youth development for so many years, and we were the diplomats for so many years, and the diplomats have done such good things. Like when St. Jude needs something, we're there. When the Trees Forever needs something, we're there. When when all of our local schools need anything, we're there. I mean, we're bringing our kids, and we're teaching them responsibility. We have Leadership Wednesdays, where we're teaching them how to job interview and how to build credit and, what these real things of life is. It's so much more than basketball than what we do. And that is our slogan. It's more than basketball. But Tone, I'll let you get into kind of what the questions you got. Because we could go forever on our
simple, and I didn't say it to toot our own horns, but we have a lot of titles, but you have one of the most important titles of mayor. And like I said, we wear a lot of hats. How many hats do you wear with that title? Like, what's your day to day? What is the responsibility of a mayor?
Well, I think, it's a part-time position, which is laughable because it's a 60-hour-a-week part-time position. But I knew that going into it. So I still run an organization I've been with for 10 years. People like to say, oh, she's the news lady. Well, I haven't been on the news for 10 years.
Right.
It's been a minute since I did that. But I run Women Lead Change. I've been there since 2015. So that's my official full-time job. And that's really workforce development through a gender lens. I say I advocate for women in the workplace, period, end of story. But good leadership's good leadership. But that's my full-time job. As mayor, it's everything from, I will talk to anybody in our community. And I feel like to be a good mayor, especially here, probably anywhere, I'm never in my office. I'm never at City Hall. I have a lot of coffees. I go to a lot of, there's like a housing conference. I'll welcome people to that. I'll be going to Wilson School to speak to some students there. Those are, our immigrant community, huge. Put my money on immigrants every time. So yeah, I think it's my job to connect as mayor. I got a call from somebody in the community that has a lawn care business, and he's like, "How do I get on the city's list of nuisance? Like, how do I get to mow nuisance properties?" Well, that's easy for me. I can connect people pretty easily. We're a small enough town that I think people reach out to me for all kinds of stuff. So, that's one of the privileges I have, though, being a connector.
Okay. So we talked about privilege. I'd like to get into like struggle or what's one of the biggest misconceptions that you have or that people have about you being a mayor.
And we talk about this every episode, the struggle of being a business owner. You're just one of the bosses of the biggest businesses in town. So you oversee a lot of it.
And this isn't just me, but I will tell you, people are really angry these days. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm not saying that's unfounded. Right. I will actually acknowledge there are real reasons why people are discontent and angry. I just find that I am often an easy target. And you know what? I'm okay with that most times. What's the one thing about being in the public eye for so long? I have super thick skin, and if it's somebody I respect and admire, it's going to bother me a lot. But the rest, I just take it for what it is. It's a lot of frustration and that's a lot of anger. I think, where I get really annoyed is when people just assume ill intent out of the chute. It's like, okay, just like, can you just, we can't share everything all the time. You put me in this office, some of you agree with me politically, disagree with me politically, but at the end of the day, you know me. And I love my city, and I'm not going to do anything to, the best of my ability to hurt my city. So can you just assume some good intent here? Yeah. And I find that people are very quick to not assume good intent and just...
Boy, hasn't that been a topic the last couple of podcasts that I've been dealing with being in real estate and property management and the boards and so on and so forth. Man, it's crazy.
It's kind of where we are, and I don't think it's just us. I don't think it's just plenty of it probably is just me, but I think it is just the climate we're in. There's just a lot of discontent right now, and I as a public figure, I should also say people can come at me, and there's nothing I can do about it. I literally had a gal with a baseball bat come at me at City Hall, and literally for me to be able to file any sort of trespassing, she pretty much had to actually hit me with the bat.
Oh,
so as a public figure. You sign, and it's not like it's a mystery. You sign up for this knowing that. I'm just saying I am an easy target, and I can't do a whole lot. But listen, it doesn't mean I don't think about it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the thing that is a misconception in Tone and I deal with it on the daily is these people think that we're punching in 9 to 5. And
if only.
Yeah, if only. And we don't lose sleep over the stuff that's happening, and we don't care. It's like the lady that we were talking about before we got onto the podcast is I had to evaluate. There was a fire in the house, and I had to figure out, is it a big fire, a little fire? Is it important, or did you really just light your grill on fire?
Yeah.
And so I had to evaluate the whole situation. Because we have too many people crying wolf that when it is really an important situation that's coming up, we don't know how to evaluate the importance unless we're there, and we can't be everywhere.
Is it all hands on deck right now? Is it something, is the fire department on their way? Do I need to leave my kid's game, or my kid could be in the hospital for something, but I got this property and responsibility that I've got to rush off to, and it's hard to ask somebody, how big is the fire? It's like, I said it's a fire. And it's like,
Yeah.
and you get there and it was like a grease fire. The chicken nuggets was
Exactly.
going too long.
I mean, it's
Doesn't
like
matter.
we had a rat problem or a mice problem at a property.
Mm-hmm.
We've sent certified pests. We've gone up and blocked every hole. We've set 15 traps. We've followed up on it for 4 straight months.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a mice problem again today. I'm like, well, it might be how you're living and what's going on in that house now, because we have literally done everything we can. And I mean, it's human nature. When it gets cold out, it's supposed to be low 40 degrees tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to see spiders come out because people are going to turn their furnace on. Spiders are going to be coming out because they're living your ductwork. So as soon as you turn that furnace on and you put heat to them, they're going to start coming out. And you're going to see mice, because mice are going to be start looking for warm spots to go. Yeah. We're in Iowa. We have mice. Now, our job as a property manager is to make sure that everything's sealed, everything's secured. And when we do get the report, we go out there. But when we continue going out there and going out there and going out there and going out there, but we still have trash on the outside, and we still have this going on, and we still have going this.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing everything you can.
We're doing everything we can.
Controllables.
And that's what I tell my staff is make sure we have a documentation of everything we're doing, all the steps we've taken. So if it ever gets evaluated any further, that we can show, look at this is what we've done. And there is situations, and no one's perfect, where it's our bad.
Yeah. So I think Lucas says all that because I could piggyback on that all day.
Yep.
There's just a lack of accountability from our people, our clients. Can you relate to that? Like, I mean,
I can. I think the other interesting thing about being mayor, and frankly, anybody in elected office who spends any time with the public, you understand the world is a really gray place. Gray meaning things aren't black and white. Mm-hmm. And I think that's can be really hard for political ideologues. How easy it would be for me to say, oh, I believe this, so I believe this every time. What I've learned in this position is people are inherently good, and nobody lives like I live. And I say that I'm not like a princess, multimillionaire, or any of that. I'm just saying most of us have it pretty good. And there are people in our town that don't. And I feel like when you look at cities and the role of cities and community dollars, if you will, people have an easier time knowing that we're spending it on the least of us. But it's my job as mayor. I mean, you take care of the least among us.
And a lot of times with our jobs and with our businesses that we run, people look at us as only the business and not I'm a person. I'm a human being with a family.
But here's the thing, though, Tom. Here's the other thing. And this goes back to my Women Lead Change. It's a 501c3, completely privately funded. Money is not a bad thing. And this concept that money is a bad thing will be the death of anybody who says money is a bad thing. As the nuns, I'm not even Catholic, but I love this statement from the nuns. No money, no mission. So you want to have a growing, thriving city? Guess what you need? You need business. You need people who want to come here. You need businesses who want to come here. These data centers that come here that we're given some incentives, guess what? For the first time ever, we said, you want to be a good partner? Prove it. In this development agreement that we're going to give you, you're going to commit to community betterment dollars per building, per year, for 15 years.
Nice.
Casino, the same thing. 3% back to the community, not good enough. You want to be here in Cedar Rapids, it's going to be 8%. No one is doing that. So this is where the business part of me comes in. I want to be able to have a growing, thriving city, being able to support all kinds of different amenities and social services and arts and culture, but it's not coming from the government these days, friends. It not.
It is
and
not.
If you were looking at Des Moines continues to give property tax relief, which I am absolutely here for, it's my job to find new ways to get that revenue. Because no money, no mission. And I will never apologize for that.
Yep. Nice. Well, and it makes sense. I mean, we can't do what we do without, I can't even say support of our backers, but for our grind. Yeah. I mean, the grind's real in what we do. So, question I got for you, what is the scariest decision that you're afraid to make or that you've had to make?
Scariest decision I've had to make or I'm afraid to make.
Is your finger on the red button?
It's not on the red button. I will tell you the things that sort of, keep me up at night or give me a stomach ache are really the things I have no control over. And those are things that come down from either the legislature or the federal government that I can't do anything about. It does me no good to poke them in the eye because I need them.
Yeah.
I need them, and I think anybody who's gonna ding me for that, go ahead and ding me for it. I'm not here to make friends and to keep people happy. I'm actually here to improve the city. I'm not here for my health. Right. And so for me, poking the legislature in the eye for decisions they may make does us no good. I get all kinds of grief for taking a picture with Joni Ernst, when I'm in Washington, D.C., getting, $26 million for flood protection, but nobody gives me any grief when I'm next to Pete Buttigieg, who's giving me money for the Eastern Iowa Airport new terminal. I mean, I am an equal opportunity offender. My job is clear. My mission is Cedar Rapids. And so, I'm very much a diplomat. I don't ever lose sight of my mission, but I would be lying if I said it didn't give me heartburn when I see things coming down, either from Des Moines, think fireworks. I shouldn't be told where we should put fireworks here, or even the federal government. Some of the things they're doing that just really don't really align with us here in Cedar Rapids in our bubble. We're in a bubble here. We got it. We got it. So just please back off and let us do our thing. So those are the things that. Yeah. Without naming anything specifically, I think you could probably guess some of the things. But so, I did come out against the tariffs when I learned that Quaker oats, nearly 100% of our oats come from Canada, and there was a big tariff on that. I sent a letter to the, administration saying, "Really? I mean, we don't even grow those here anymore. No one even grows them here. It's not even like it's an option for us because it doesn't make enough money. We grow corn here, so I will always fight for my city unapologetically."
So, and I'm glad we're kind of in this area here because I literally just had to make a post on the music awards saying, hey, there are paid submissions for the music, but there's also free options. And I just get destroyed because, we shouldn't have to pay for submission. And it's like, I don't know who's participating. But like you said, no money, no mission.
You want the music awards? Yeah. Not a charity.
I do spend a lot out of my own pocket, but I do more than what my personal budget even allows me to do, thanks to certain things that cost. So that leads me to my next question on social media for me. People leave comments, and I'm able to compartmentalize. And there's people don't look at me as a person; they just look at the business. When Lucas gets a bad review for property management, he has to compartmentalize. As a mayor, you're not just a business. You can't, I could almost say I could hide behind the business and say, hey, that was for the business, not myself. But they're always going to attack you personally. How do you compartmentalize that?
Here's what I will say. Depending on who it is, and it is usually the same people that honest to God, I could, invent a cure for cancer, and I'm pretty sure there would be something wrong with it. So there's those people, and they actually fortify me. It fortifies me. And that's probably not the answer they want to hear, but honestly, if it's somebody that I respect and admire, that's gonna bother me. But I mean, online, people are really bold. And what I've also learned is the second that they know you're actually a person, they do it differently. But I don't, honest to God, I know it's hard, but I don't care.
Well,
I don't care. I mean,
that's the right answer.
I don't think you.
That's the right answer is because we always.
I'm not here for my health, and I know if I'm not going to be liked. But I'm not. Again, I'm not here for my health. I don't need this job. I'm doing it because I literally I had to send a release out today because I had people asking me if I was going to run for Iowa too, for Congresswoman Hinson's position. No, I'm not. I'm actually here, like I said I was from day one, for Cedar Rapids. And I know that it's really hard for people to imagine, but I'm actually here for that. And whatever that looks like, Yeah.
Well, and they always say and we've talked about this, and we've had a quote on this, if the people at the top of the mountain didn't just get dropped there, they earn their way there. They climb their way up to the top of the mountain. No helicopters just picking people up and dropping them at the top of the mountain. Right. No. We had to walk a path to get there.
And it's not a straight path, by the way.
No, it is not. And it's a rigid path. Yeah. And they always say
lots of rocks.
You keep using the word target, and that's what we all are. We all are targets. And it's like the old saying is, if you shoot for the moon, you'll hit a star.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing when they're coming after you, I, or Tone, is they're shooting for that moon. And they're hoping that it just hits this star, and that star is going to blink, and it's going to cure what's going on around them. It can be that way. The moon definitely can We can relay the messages, but we can't make people do actions. And it doesn't mean we care less, or it doesn't mean we care more because something gets done and something doesn't get done. And we still have the same passion that's coming back to the community on that. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. And this is why we have these podcasts, is to kind of, it's our time where we take our time that, we don't get an hour to an hour and 25 minutes ever where it's just free. Our phones are off.
This is so fun.
It's healthy.
It's like been 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's like therapy.
It is.
It is.
Cheap therapy. Although I don't know what this whiskey costs. But
it ain't costing you nothing. This ain't even the tax dollars. This is our investors out of California. Thank you because that's where this is made. It's out of California.
Well, that's too bad. But whatever. You can't have everything. Yeah. It is delicious.
But we normally have our local whiskeys on. We had the Revelton that was out of Osceola last time. Yes. Last thing, we have a ton of Cedar Ridge that always are coming on. So, I mean, Tone and I in ourselves, we're kind of like those undercover guys that are out there that we're forged in the community. So we hear everything. Good, bad, and indifferent. But we're also business owners that try to help all sides, all fashions, everything. I mean, you see my hat. My hat says Diplomats on the back.
Mm-hmm. It's a great word.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Shout out to the guys that created it. It's one of those guys that, or one of those, the Diplomats was out there is because they were challenged on a gym that we had reserved rights for. And, they were going to get kicked out of the gym, and they're like, no, we paid for it. Here it is. Here's our spot. So we said, he just posted on the wall, I'm a diplomat. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. Here's our invoice that approved us to be here. So anyways, when you get into trying to please everybody,
you can't. Good luck with that.
Manika is awesome at just drawing that line and saying, nope, this is where I stop. Nope, I'm going home tonight. I'm turning my phone off. Yep. How are you when you go home? I envy.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, I envy Manika because she's able to do that. I will turn my phone like they are right now. When I get home, this is where my phones go. They go upside down, so I don't pay attention. But I need the chance of sanity of just to be able to pull it up and be like, what did I miss? Okay. Yeah. Oh, well.
And this is where it's interesting. This is where I feel like tend to be a lot of us as reporters that end up in these positions, or journalists in these positions. That's not an accident to me. Like I totally get it. First of all, we love current events. It's like why we do it. We like to be in the middle of stuff. So that's like just innate. Second of all, we work all the time. Like we're happiest when we're working all the time. I worked nights my whole kid's life. I mean, I worked, 2 to 11. I worked nights. I was on call anytime. I'd be annoyed if I didn't get called on a Sunday if there was something happening. Right. I mean, there's just that sort of, I do work all the time. It's in my DNA. So as mayor, that's just like part of it. And you'll never hear me complain about that.
So,
but it is 24/7 in a really good way. I mean, when I say I want a seat at the table, I actually mean that. And that's really how I view this spot. It's like I'm the one that's lucky enough to have a seat at the table. I've always considered myself an outsider. I didn't have the traditional upbringing. Parents didn't go to college, first generation college graduate, found my way in the back door to just about everything I've ever done, which, yes, good for me. And second of all, it gives you an idea of my frame of mind as an outsider at every table. So I happen to be the one at the table. That's literally how I view it. Just lucky enough to be there. So whenever they need me.
That's a fantastic way to put it, because Tone and I, and Tone, please preach into this. They don't know who we are. When they come after us, and when the quotes are made, and when this post is made, they don't truly know who we are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's more of...
It's good you know that, because I think that helps you get through it, when you know that these aren't people who know you.
And I think it's part of the marketing plan that needs to go on with Cedar Rapids, too, is there is so much that we have to offer that people assume that we're not paying attention or focusing on them. And I really think that's the bridge and the segue of marketing that, I lack in on the property management side, there where I get my ass handed to me on some days, and some days I'm a rock star because I just made this happen for this tenant, and I made this happen for this tenant.
Don't you love that?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's what keeps me driven and going in the right direction is those success moments. But Cedar Rapids has and this is just a perception out there, is how do we get that vision out there of what's going on with Redland Park? And how do we get the vision out there of what's going on over here? And the thing is with me that I've learned, I pay a marketing guy to come in every day, every Tuesday, Thursday, to keep my thumb on the pulse, you know. And Jake Trumper, shout out to Jake Trumper out there, and then I got Tone, who keeps my social media rolling with, you know, the whiskey and real estate and what we're doing. And the reason we do it, and yes, it all costs money, but it's also worth it when the message is getting put out there in the right way.
For sure, without a doubt. And I think that's one of the things, you know, coming into this position with a media background, you know, I just have this unique understanding of, you know, what people need to know, how to stay proactive, how to not be reactive to stuff. It's one thing if we were trying to hide stuff, but there's actually really good stuff going on. You know, the animal care and control is a great example of, you know, a situation that got completely out of control. The tendency from establishment is to do all the work behind the scenes. People don't want that. They just, I mean, I know what's going on behind the scenes. It's a story we're sharing. Why wouldn't we share that? And I find social media to be, you know, a really great vehicle for me as mayor to get the message out, whatever it may be. It never does any good. And that was one of the first things I battled coming in right away, was this whole no comment mentality. That's just not who we are. First of all, it's one thing if we had a garbage organization and we were, you know, hiding all kinds of corruption. That is not the case. People are doing the best they can, and really good people. It's just telling the story properly. And when you look at journalists doing this work, honestly, I go back. That's why the casino passed this time too. Is we had the right story.
You did. I agree 100% on that. The right
story to tell, and frankly, the right people telling the story. That it all comes down to that. It's never nefarious. It's just, but when people don't have the answers, they're going to fill it in with their own, and you can't blame them for that. That's human nature. It's our job to make sure we're being proactive about what we're doing. But that's, you know how that is though. That's not establishment government. I mean, that's definitely a different way of thinking about things.
Well, and you're right. The first time or the second time it did not pass. The big thing I heard within the community is, because I'm pro casino and because I'm real estate, obviously, I want to see the development. I want to see the appreciation of the market. I already see what's going down the northwest side, what's going on with the appreciation of values and what people are trying to sell these houses for that are within 5 to 10 blocks of the casino. I mean, it's unreal, the prices with that are going out there. I mean, we saw that when we had James come on when we were at the Double Z, when we were promoting the Double Z, and he was talking about the real estate in the area. So we get to see all fashions of it, and I got to hear it all. And the second time it failed, it was more, the biggest comment that I had from the community is because it was more about the people than the story. Yeah. It was more about the people that were investing the money into it. And they're like, oh, he's just doing this to get money grab again. You know, this is something where he's trying to take advantage of a situation on Main Street. The last time it came through when it passed, you guys told the story of what's coming. Yeah. Why is it coming? Here's what's coming. And you lessen the people side of it. And I think that's where a lot of people got behind it, is because we heard more of the story and the messaging and so on and so forth. Let's be real. And this is what a lot of people in Cedar Rapids need to understand. No one cares about Tone the Boss. No one cares about Lucas Burrington. No one cares about the mayor of Cedar Rapids. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just another individual within, 150,000 people that are here.
We want the same things. I mean, by and large, we want a lot of the same things.
Yeah, and no one cares that we have a podcast going on right now. There's people that
you didn't
pay
tell me
attention.
That.
We have a lot of followers and a lot of viewers, and there is a select few. But when you're talking, 1,000 people to 2,000 people or more that are watching the podcast, that's just such a small minority. I mean, if I went out there and I tipped over a cup and the right person saw it, I'm blown over. I'm like, he just abused alcohol. He did this, X, Y, Z. But if I'm doing it at my house, no one cares. No one's going to care what's going on out there.
Here's the thing: if they don't like you, though, they're going to find all kinds of problems with that.
It's true.
And I think that's what gets so hard for me. Is, like I said, I'm not kidding when I say I could cure cancer. And there's a handful of people that would find a problem with that. Or I can put a picture of a beautiful sky and it's going to be like, well, what are you doing for climate change? I mean, there are people that just don't want to see me be successful, don't want to be a part of anything I'm doing. And I have to just respect that and move along and know that I'm not here for my health. And that at the end of the day.
And the majority voted you in.
And I did have I had great support, and hopefully we'll do that again. But I mean, it's
the majority.
I'm preaching to the choir here.
Well, I kind of want to get into that too. Like, with our jobs, there is times so obviously we have to bite our tongue and we can't speak as free or it's just really tough. And I can only imagine what you go through. So like, there's instances I've seen clips on social media that may have been taken out of context, but when you have these the town hall meetings, I saw somebody said, "Oh, you're just being petty." How do you respond professionally and not just react?
I shouldn't respond. I mean, the answer to that, honestly, is I shouldn't respond to that. I think, that specific example was just, I call it performative outrage. I don't know. It was just based on some incorrect facts. And I'm not there to debate anybody at city council. City council is not a working session. We rely on everybody on city council to do their homework before the meetings and to get all of their questions answered ahead of time. So when I'm called out in that forum, I think people really need to question the motives behind that, which is what I do. But I think it also speaks to why it makes it difficult for people like me to be as candid as I want to be, because I know it's going to be taken out of context. I know it's going to get somebody clicks, which makes somebody money. And I don't ever lose sight of that. I guess I can't fault somebody for making money on my quotes out of context, but I know that's the reality. And I think the public loses, frankly. I think the public loses. The reason why we don't even respond, like we don't even, when people speak in front of city council for 5 minutes, everybody gets 5 minutes. But council, I always say, is here to listen during these public engagement sessions. It's because the city's been sued multiple times over comments that maybe council has made back to somebody. I don't want to put us at risk as a city of being sued for anything. It's sad. That's just the reality. So we really do make sure we're just there listening. We're taking notes. We respect everybody. It is different when I hear, I do think the public is smarter than that. And when you hear people from on council, questioning the motives of a mayor or city staff, I think people see right through that and understand that there's just maybe other motives behind that. At least I do. I do. And certainly, people who reach out to me understand that too.
And feel free to no comment on any of this stuff at any point.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, cool.
So, I don't care. Knowing that I'm going to be like, clickbait for somebody.
Yeah.
We don't do that here.
No, we don't.
But
and it's so sad that's the truth.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, and the public loses. I mean, when we lose that freedom of being just candid, I'd prefer to do that every time, except I know that that's going to be used against me. I said one time I was at a public event and I said, man, I've got more guts than brains. Like when I'm taking risks and doing stuff, I got more guts than brains. And I'll be darned if I haven't had that thrown back at me a million times, completely out of context. Yeah. But I say that because it's a part of who I am. I mean, it's no filter. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm a risk taker. And I'm being honest, and yet it gets twisted around. So I get super guarded and protected. And I think honestly, I think the public loses when that happens.
So the other day on my social media, I saw it was like you taking a picture of someone, and like people shared that, and I was like, wouldn't someone else had to have been taking a picture of her? Like, why does that not count?
This was a really scary individual. And honest to God, I have learned too, like I mentioned the gal with the baseball bat coming at me at City Hall. I know it's insane to think about as the mayor of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but there are people that are not happy about either their lives or the way the Cedar Rapids are going. And so they are pretty violent. And this one individual that's just, I want to say, maybe needs help or a hobby, I don't know, but really comes at me regularly online and then certainly in council, which is her prerogative to do. But she's kind of scary. Yeah. She's actually kind of scary. And so at that point, I made sure that I was videoing who she was, knowing that I could give it to officers and whatever. And luckily the officer, I was actually by an officer when I was taking that video. I said, this gal keeps like taking pictures of me. And he actually said, don't worry, I have video of the whole thing. So we do have, officers have our back. They know the threats that we get on the daily. I mean, it shouldn't be that way.
It's unfortunate it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we
But I am going to protect myself every time.
You have to. I mean, there was a post that went out there, 2 weeks ago we talked about on this podcast, and like Tone and I cannot respond to anyone on social media.
I wouldn't. It's just not worth it.
And there was something that, you know, that was posted, and they're like, you should blame your employer for XYZ. And I was the employer. I'm like, hold on. No.
Hey, I'm going to clear this up real quick.
Yeah, let me clear this up. And I responded back, and I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you know I support 100%. This is not me that he's talking about here.
Yeah.
XYZ. And the responses that was coming back to it, but I've never been so fearful of clicking send. And I had to reread it like 3 or 4 times, and I had to make sure that I was just like, man, I want to light this person up right now, or I want to respond nicely, or
just don't.
And so I responded, you know, how I thought I should respond, and I put it out there. And it's crazy because the person that was doing this is, we've helped in so many fashions, you know, throughout the last 8 to 10 years that we've helped out. And maybe you should think about your employer. Maybe they're the ones that no, don't go there with that.
No.
Yeah, some people are fickle and quick to turn on you.
The same person that's giving me a hug at the football game on Friday night. You know, I'm just like, are you serious?
So I say probably once a day, no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. Because it really, I mean, you think you're doing something great, and then somebody's gonna get up who, for whatever reason, doesn't like you, and it's gonna be your problem. Which is, it's unfortunate. But honestly, my advice to you is just let it go. I mean, the Frozen girl, let it go. Let it go.
I see. We try to put out the fire before it spreads, and it's,
oh my God,
that's the better idea.
It is, and it's crazy. Austin shot me a picture today, and he's like, "What you doing? Do you got time for me?" I'm like, "I have 0 time right now, man. What's going on?" And he just said an LOL, and a guy he just has this big old fire, and he just go, "Can you put this out, please?" I'm like, "This ain't funny. We got a fire at our house right now."
Right. Bad timing, bro.
Bad timing.
Well, and that's the other thing. Cedar Rapids is a big city, so as much as you can hear from those people, there's a whole lot of other people that see right through it, and that's sort of, I mean, that fuels me too.
Well, we've hung our hat on doing nothing but good, you know. Yeah, with the right intention, whether it hurts ourselves, our family, whatever. Not, we're going to do it before we take care of ourselves. So,
and you talk about like protecting yourself and being safe, but you also mentioned like coffee with a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Okay, so like, do you have like a do not coffee list? Like, there's people that you won't have coffee with, or is it?
Oh,
I do.
You asking for name drops?
No, I'm not. No, this is not the clickbait podcast.
I actually do.
Okay,
and it's a very small list.
Okay,
and it's actually probably a list of 1.
Oh, man.
It's probably a list of 1.
I hope it's not someone we know.
It may be someone you know. And the only reason why, it's because, again, I've lived here 22 years, and you know, anyway, these are people that I've known a really long time, and just continue to disappoint me. And it's like, clearly we're not interested in moving forward, and we got other stuff to do. We got really important things to do. So yeah, it's probably a list of 1, maybe 2. But at the end of the day, I mean, I literally had coffee with the guy that many people couldn't believe I'd have coffee with. I may or may not have asked Chief Yonker to stop in when I was meeting with him.
Man.
But literally, I'll meet with anybody. I mean, seriously, it's your job as mayor. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not the UN. It's Cedar Rapids. And I learn a lot with everybody I talk to. I might not agree with them. They might not agree with me. But I do find once you talk to people, we do have more in common than we differ. But it's, no, I'll have coffee with anybody. I may ask PD to show up.
Yeah, right. Just sit at the table behind me.
Right. Just pop in.
Right. And my grandpa always said the greatest cure is a handshake. And
I think that's still, honestly, I think in Cedar Rapids, that's why I say we're in a bubble. It's very fragile. I mean, it's a very fragile bubble, but we live in a really special place. And my maiden name's DiBernardo. My grandparents immigrated from Sicily. So there may be a little bit of Sicilian in me. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yep.
Don't poke the bear too much.
Yep. I remember the first spanking I ever got from my grandpa. That was the one thing he said after that. He shook my hand after it, and I was bawling my eyes out, and he said, a lot can be learned from a handshake. And you know what? It's so true. So going into the mayor role, and we always talk about the future, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting right here. I'm not going anywhere.
So what do you see in the next 5 years? What is your, if you could make a top 3 wish list of what you could see happen in Cedar Rapids, What do you see happening? And it's strictly a wish list. It doesn't mean it is. And I want to quote that right now for anyone that watches. It doesn't mean it is happening. This is what the wish list. This is her putting her wish list out there.
The wish list is that I'll be able to have dinner alongside the river while I watch a beautiful light show on the water. Maybe there's some kayakers. We have a Mays Island Sculpture Park. And, 2nd Avenue on a Saturday night is converted to a festival street, and people are walking to and from the east and west side. And that only happens, by the way, if you've got, financial stability, which means we've got homegrown businesses that have grown and chosen to stay here and grow here, and a few new ones that have decided to come here.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, we love going downtown. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the river is not used. It's more as some people see it as a barrier than they do as an event center.
We're not turning our back on it anymore.
Love that. I guess my last question then would be, it's one we ask every guest. What's your favorite whiskey?
Or bourbon. Yep.
Well, it's got to be Cedar Ridge.
Oh, there we go.
Easy.
Yep.
We're going to have to use you for your Cedar Ridge connections. We've shouted them out every episode.
I am the mayor. I'm the ultimate homer. Remember that? I'm not even objective. It could be the worst bourbon ever, and I'll never admit it.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
this has been a treat, guys.
Yep.
Real treat. Thank you for letting the filter come off and feeling like it's a pretty safe space. And honestly, by the way, making Cedar Rapids cooler by just being here, Tone. This place is this was an amazing facility. Yeah. And I've driven by it. My sound box. I mean, really, I've driven by it. My kids were at McKinley. I've driven by this place millions of times and had no idea what was all in here. So thanks for your work here, the music awards, all of that. Thanks for what you're doing, making sure that people have places to live that they can afford and that are safe and healthy. Yeah.
You gave me one of my first proclamations. You signed
I sure did
a couple years ago. I can't thank you enough for that. That's something I'll have forever, just mentally, accomplishment wise, and it solidifies what I do with the music awards. So this is my first time being able to thank you in person. So thank you so much.
It is my pleasure, and you have to know that you had an army of people behind that proclamation. It's not just me. So glad to do it.
That's awesome. All right.
Anything you need to add, Tone?
It's been another episode of Whiskey
and Real Estate.
All right. Thank you, Mayor O'Donnell.